So, the spoilers weren't wrong, and I can't believe that Toei, Bandai, whoever signed off on releasing this trailer. I just can't believe they couldn't help themselves. Then again, this is the same company that asks you, will Goku survive? And then tells you that the next episode is called Goku Survives. So, let's just get into things. Okay, so the spoiler review or synopsis that we did last video, it wasn't wrong. Final Garurumon, I don't know what else to call it, very much does look like Wolfmon from Frontier. Maybe with a bit more of a Craniumon color scheme, although I do like the neon red accents to the look. Greymon or Final Greymon very much does look like a naked Shine Greymon. Although with the color scheme, with that pale yellow and then the blue neon stripes, does look like a more fleshy version of War Greymon. But I do appreciate how his scarf thing could be taken to be a reference to his Metal Greymon form and the tattered purple wings that that thing carries. So I think that's pretty cool. Uh, the final Garurumon I think is amusing, going from a biped to a quadruped, back to a biped, then to a quadruped, and now being back to biped again. The darker colors do make it harder to tell if there's any particular reference, like with the final Greymon. Although I do kind of like that his tail is a bit more dinosaur-like, which is a clear reference to Gabumon, who is a reptile wearing Garurumon fur, which I think that's kind of cute, you know. The helmet is a bit too similar to Wolfmon or Lobomon, but so I can definitely see where the spoilers were coming from. But things like this should have been a biomerge or an adventure version of the biomerge concept from Tamers, if or the biohybrid concept from Savers, because they're just too humanoid. I mean, especially in the faces. I'm not really digging those aspects of the designs simply because I just think there's maybe just it's not an uncanny valley thing, but it's just too much for these not to be fusions. Maybe you keep Final Gururumon's helmet shut, or you give Final Greymon the War Greymon style mouthpiece. But I guess if they did that, people might consider them to be evolutions beyond Metal Garurumon and War Greymon, and that might not be the case at all. It's they're very interesting. Do I don't hate them as much as I thought I did. I just There's just something off about them. The feeling like of armor basically be transitioning into flesh is especially obvious with Final Greymon, where we were initially from the spoiler synopsis we went through last video. It was equated to a naked Shine Greymon, and I can definitely see that with the tail. Um, but it does look like the next step in the War Greymon evolution, where instead of all this armor, it just becomes, this bulky mass of neon dinosaur, which I do like. I do like the blue striping relating back to the actual Greymon forms and the Greymon helm coming back in rather than a War Greymon or Metal Greymon style, like just the standard Greymon helm, I think is really cool. And that might be my own bias because I once had an OC that wore a sorry, not Garurumon, a Geo Greymon helm as chest armor. So, you know, um, yeah, I got very Monster Hunter in my designs a while back. But anyway, it it definitely beats. them being some new generic Omegamon. I mean, you look at them there and they just look like hulking, beefy boys coming to punch the snot out of you, you know? Um, and I guess they're saving something like a Victory Gravemon or Z Garurumon or what's the other one? Cress. Is it? Oh, I can't remember the other Greymon that goes with Cress Garurumon. I can't remember that. Maybe they are saving those as the mega forms for the Adventure reboot. So that's why their final evolution isn't in the ballpark of a Victory Greymon and Z Garurumon. Like I look, it's all to sell merch and it's all to sell toys at the end of the day, and that's fine. But at least they didn't just cop out and do another Omegamon like Tri did. And look, I really do like the aesthetic of Omegamon Merciful Mode, but there's too many damn Omegamons. There's like 10 of them. They could form a Royal Knights group by themselves. There's that many. Um, so, this is at least something new. It's at least something different. And I really can't hate on it too much for that. I only wish it had been a biomerge fusion kind of thing rather than just this realm's interpretation of Agumon burst mode, for lack of a better equivalency. So yeah, I don't hate the designs, and I think that's a good thing. They definitely look better than they sounded in the spoiler synopsis we went through before. And again, I'm just happy it's something new. I'm happy it's not our 15th Omegamon. Um, but should something like this have been a biomerge, or maybe a fusion of the four of them? Maybe, but that would have just resulted in some other form of Omegamon, which defeats the purpose of why I'm happy about these. But I want to know what you guys think. Drop your comments on these final evolutions down in the comments. I'm very curious to know what you guys think of all this and if you're looking forward to seeing the movie more or less based on these designs, and whether or not you're going to be dreaming of beefy final Greymon tonight, because I know I certainly may or may not. That design is doing things to me that I'm not quite comfortable with. So I think I'm just going to leave off this portion of the video there. We are going to be making addendums to our previous video, so you're welcome to stick around for that. If you are done, by all means, thank you very much for watching this far. Be sure to thumbs up the video, hit that subscribe button, and see your way out the door. We'll be happy to talk with you again in the next video. But some points have come to mind since our last video that I do want to touch on concerning how the plot of Kizuna seemingly retcons the plot of Zero Two and Tri. So let's get into that. So we are getting into spoilers here for Adventure Zero Two and Tri. If you haven't seen those yet, I highly suggest you leave. Again, thank you so much for watching this far. Please thumbs up the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and get the bell on. Ding, ding, ding. But to those of you who stick around or have stuck around and wonder what I'm on about, a point was made to me regarding Manoa and Aelsmon. We talked about how in the spoiler synopsis, Manoa was a female digidestined. Well, I mean, the sex and gender don't matter, but she was a digidestined who became an adult and lost her partner, and so went on a psychotic, world-changing rampage to create a new Digimon to try and resolve that problem. Okay, and she's also some sort of genius. Okay, so we drew the parallels to Maki in the last video. Okay, and I think that's apt. Sciency government lady goes crazy because she lost her partner, causes world-ending catastrophe to try and get her partner back. Okay, those are the parallels there. It's the genius that creates their own partner bit that I never touched on in the last video, and I feel like I should now, because we've already seen that in Zero Two in Ken. Ken was you know, he was infected by the dark spores. He became the Digimon Kaiser. His IQ and smarts and everything, just his athletic ability, everything went off the charts. And he ends up creating his own idealized Ultimate Digimon in the form of Chimeramon. So, kind of interesting that Menoa has ties in some respect to Maki and Ken. Even funnier when you think of Maki running around in Tri with Genai dressed up like said Digimon Kaiser. So the parallels are there. I just thought the Ken thing was a bit too obvious before, but I feel like it should be mentioned here because another thing gets brought up. And this was thanks to a commenter on my previous video, so thank you so much. It's because it's not even a point of contention that I had considered. But if when you hit 21, you're no longer allowed to have a Digimon partner, right, and you get blocked off from accessing the digital world, Maki's we'll get to her in a second. Oikawa's whole plotline falls apart. Oikawa, the villain from season 2, who was a computer programmer, discovered the digital world with Cody's dad, always wanted to go to the digital world and meet his own partner, finally achieves it at the end of the series. And if you're still here, I won't get into what happens when he finally does get there. But Oikawa at this stage is like 45, 50 in terms of age. He's well past 21, but his Digimon partner is very much, come on, you're almost there. Just one more step and you're in the digital world. And that was it. You know, there was no inclination to the idea that once he crossed the threshold, his partner would disappear or his partner just wouldn't cease to function. And maybe it's because it was self created. Maybe that has something to do with it. But it also applies to Maki. Maki goes on this, again, this world ending, binge to find her Bakuman again. And when she finds it, it doesn't recognize her because of the reboot, which is fine. That was part of Tri's plot. But surely as soon as she touched it, it should have evaporated or something, right? You would hope. And it just leads me to believe that between all the writing staffs that have come and gone, there was no overarching structure to this. That there was no Bible saying, this is the next step, this is the next step, this is how it would have progressed, and so forth. I think they're just looking at ideas in a bubble of, hey, this might be cool to do without the minute, I suppose, without the detail of going, okay, hold on, we've actually done this plot line before. How can we reconcile it or improve on it in a way that's thematically relevant to the show? And I think the cracks in the current adventure universe are starting to show because of that. Again, I don't want to go into Kizuna hating it in advance. I don't want my vision of it to be colored, but I don't honestly believe that there is. I don't think there's a plan. I think they're just throwing stuff at the wall for the sake of rule of cool and hoping it works out because a majority of the fan base will have already bought and paid for their tickets because Motaichi. And that's a whole other discussion I'm not getting into again, but I do think there is an element of it at play here because otherwise we've just gone through Menoa here being a copy of Maki and Ken combined, and if that wasn't through sheer coincidence, then there's a plot thread here that they are sorely missing the option of capitalizing on. What do you guys think between the adult stuff, Oikawa, Maki, Menoa's similarities to Ken? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.